Welcome, students. Let's chat about the religion of the marketplace, shall we? The marketplace is the central image of a new religion, says Tussman, rising out of the ruins of a century marked by devastating war and by a remarkable run of insane rulers and intrusive bureaucracies that have destroyed faith in politics as capable of producing a just and happy human order. It's a situation ripe for the emergence of a non-political, anti-political, he says, salvation creed. And lo, it has emerged. So the claim is that this new faith has these three expressions: desire, competition, and tolerance. All religions that the human species has come to create have more or less one thing in common. The status of desire is sort of pushed down. We're slaves to desire. We have to find a way to tame desire, control desire, suppress desire. The religion of the marketplace, which is where we now place our faith, that's what we've all been born into, has done something very peculiar. It's inverted what we've been doing for thousands of years, which is suppressing desire. The religion of the marketplace elevates the status of desire. And part of the reason why this religion has become a global religion is because it has this peculiar feature within it, that we should give in to desire. We should look to our desires as the guiding light. We'll talk about the consequences in a second. You say, I want a certain consumer product, let's say, a certain object that you feel is valuable to you. So you say, I want it because I value it, and I value it, therefore it must be good. The religion of the marketplace has taken the concept of the good and made it a concept about taste. It's a relativist discussion. You may have heard of this term. What you like is your business, what I like is mine, you do you, and I'll do me. And what that subtle movement does is it changes the conditions for how we talk about the good. So think, for example, of how philosophers have talked about the good. There's this rich, vibrant discussion to figure out what is the good, what does it mean to live well, what does it mean to dedicate your life to the good. Within the religion of the marketplace, if you put desire as the first thing, that means that effectively all humans are reduced to consumers who have different tastes, of course. Now, if you have a consumer, you have to have a producer, right? And that's where competition comes in. Here's the trick, according to Tussman. We're not producing in order to serve a need, because it's not about a need, it's about a want. We're producing in order to serve a need so that we can make a profit. That's at the center of competition. Competition, the second feature of the faith in the religion of the marketplace, is something that sort of drives the engine, if you will. It's the fuel for the religion of the marketplace. Competition is presented as the cure-all, the panacea. Competition is certainly something that belongs in the marketplace. The problem is that when you go to the church of the money god, that starts to spill over, competition, into domains where it doesn't belong, is his point of view. So when competition starts spilling over into the family, when competition starts spilling over into the classroom, that's an important one, when competition, now comes the key, starts spilling over into politics, what works in the market starts to do peculiar things in places where it wasn't intended to be. Let me give you an example with the COVID-19 vaccines. Shall we talk about that? I find it to be a scandalous situation, but a nice example of the limitations of competition. So we have the COVID-19 pandemic. All year we've been experiencing this. We're wearing masks, we're socially distancing, we're doing all these things. But what we really need is a vaccine. Could you imagine a scenario where the world comes together, pools their strength, pools their knowledge, pools their resources in order to produce the best vaccine? If you were to follow that logic, what you're doing now is going against the religion of the marketplace. We have transformed the political domain. Our faith, which used to be in it, is now in the religion of the marketplace, and even our political institutions reflect the values of the marketplace. Everyone's competing for what? In order to be first, Why? Because when you're first, you set the price. And if you set the price, you've made the cash. What that means is that rather than pooling our strengths, getting to the finish line of a vaccine, making it as cheap as possible, and then distributing it to the world, which makes sense from the point of view of the common good, we've done the exact opposite of that. We've now created a situation where some people will get it, those who can afford it, others won't. Who's going to get it first? Here's some information that you may not be aware of. The Pfizer vaccine has a potency of 4 to 6 months. It's also very expensive, and it's very difficult to distribute. The Moderna vaccine is less expensive, but also has a potency of 4 to 6 months. The Russian vaccine is the least expensive, and it has a potency of 2 years plus. You may be wondering why. Well, part of the reason why the Russian vaccine has that potency is because the Russians have been developing vaccines the longest, and they used all the work that they had done on the Ebola vaccine and applied that research to the coronavirus vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine. Now ask yourself the question, if you want to get the Russian vaccine here in Canada or in the United States, can you have access to it? So if you live in Vancouver, we have the refrigerating capacity for the Pfizer vaccine. Of course, you're going to have to be injected every 4 to 6 months because it's the Pfizer vaccine. If it's the Moderna vaccine, it doesn't have to be refrigerated in an elaborate thing, so maybe it'll get to the northern communities, but it's still going to be 4 to 6 months. This third feature of the faith and the religion in the marketplace is a feature that really represents a self-defense mechanism. So the religion has to be able to protect itself. Every religion has done this, if you think about it carefully. So let's maybe take a couple steps back. How do you protect the religion? So different religions have protected themselves in different ways, but most of them have used language as a barrier. A barrier in the sense that it's accessible to an elite that can speak the language. In the case of the religion in the marketplace, we have a kind of language. We have the language of mathematics, of course, and we also have the language of the law. So we take all the wants of every single person, and we express that on a graph that represents the free market. And when we do that, in many ways, maybe that's the truest thing. Who you referenced was Blaise Pascal. And Pascal said, for the purposes of the notes, the problem with reason, what is it? Well, he says, the heart has reasons that reason knows nothing about. And in theory, it definitely offers something that reason can't offer. But the question is, can you use that in every single situation and expect the best possible outcome? My reference to the vaccine fiasco, I would call it, is an example of the fact that this is not a panacea. There are limits. There's moments in which reason should prevail, particularly when we're talking about political institutions that are tasked, exclusively tasked, with the common good. So here's the main idea about the religion in the marketplace. It teaches you that if you want to do good for society, if you want to actualize the common good, what you need to do is follow your self-interest. That's the magic wand of the religion of the marketplace. So it says then, go to the mall, buy what you want. The more you get, the better for society, right? You can do no wrong. Follow your desire, and it's the ultimate contribution that you can make. Now, as part of the political, in the context of a Western liberal democratic society, you are a citizen. If you walk away from the power associated with the political vocation, you lose the ability to express your reason when it comes to the common good. So yes, you should focus on your career, your vocation, and gain financial independence and security. That's essential in 2020 and beyond, soon to be 2021. But equally as important is the political vocation. And now, this is not an American religion. This is a global religion. The consumer holiday in China, Singles Day, November 11th, where you treat yourself. It's like Valentine's Day, but for single people. It's a weird kind of an idea. It's a purely capitalist idea, that is thriving. I would argue the religion in the marketplace is more rampant in China than it is in certain parts of the West. Let me be clear on a couple of things. Consumption is an inevitable fact of what we've been born into. But there is a big difference between you consuming something and owning something, and that thing owning you. That's a key difference. So you can't avoid consumption, and I'm not saying become a monk, live in a mountain, and never go into a shopping mall or something. But what I'm saying is you have to be a conscious consumer. If you're not a conscious consumer, and my suggestion is that the religion of the marketplace breeds unconscious consumption, blind consumption, because it's a blind faith that you express. One other feature that's important to note, we said the religion of the marketplace is a little bit like a bulldozer, right, in terms of culture. If you give your faith to this religion, what you're doing now is you are bulldozing all the thousands of years of cultural nuance, normative claims, ideas about the good. All those things become forgotten. They become secondary, and before you know it, they're gone. So if you take a look at China, which is an ancient culture, Iran, which is an ancient culture, and we can talk about them in a moment, all of these cultural features, these beautiful things that took millennia to figure out, are being thrown into the bin on the promise of salvation in something that has serious limits that very few people even care to think about. When we do that, what we're doing is we're robbing ourselves of cultural wisdom and value that took thousands of years to produce. And this is a religion, let's say loosely, that's existed for 100 years. The reason why it's become a global religion is because it inverts this thing that we've been trying to suppress for thousands of years. And it comes with really big consequences. It's produced a whole bunch of stuff. In the last 100 years, we've made a bunch of stuff. No question about it. But we've also, in my opinion, we've taken steps backward in terms of our progress as a society.